Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
I think that wealthy people can get away with anything. I intentionally murdered my wife.
Not only is Robert saying he killed his wife, he's bragging he can get away with it because he comes from money. You think just because you got money, you can go kill somebody?
The police, they don't like to bring anything big against me.
So did you or did you not murder your wife? Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, I received an email from today's guest, Robert, on April 26th of this year, claiming he was falsely accused of killing his wife. He wrote, and I quote, "I have been falsely accused by the police of murder in the first." Then he sent me another email on May 12th, begging to clear his name, saying, quote, "I want to tell the truth about what really happened that night." When we finally got Robert on the phone, well, he dropped a bombshell because he told a completely different story. He claims that he was, in fact, the one that murdered his wife, Allison. Take a look.
Murder is murder. It's no big deal. If you have enough money, you can kill whoever you want.
Yeah, you heard that right. A week after his wife's death, Robert says he confessed to police that he killed her. But after we started doing some digging, we discovered that Robert had previously accused a friend of this heinous act. Now, not only is Robert saying he killed his wife, Allison, he's bragging he can get away with it because he comes from money. So what the hell's going on here?
I intentionally murdered my wife. Allison and I met at a sober living house. I knew Allison for roughly 10 days before we started dating, May 15th. We were married June 13th, so it was a little less than a month. On June 30th, 2018, I killed her. That evening, Allison and I were in bed together while we were having sex. Allison enjoyed being choked. I had these thoughts racing through my head.
I thought killing her would be an easier way than divorcing her.
Things may have gotten out of control. I realized immediately after that she'd been choked to death. If you choke someone like that, you bruise their esophagus and there are ligature marks, but what you can do is move your hand upwards. It cuts off the windpipe. Allison passed away at roughly 2 a.m. I went to sleep, slept more calmly than I had in a long time. Allison's manner of death was initially determined to be accidental. The truth is that it was homicide.
Robert says there was another woman in his life at the time of his wife's death. Take a look at this.
During the time I was married to Allison, I was having an emotional affair with a girl in Texas. The girl in Texas talked to me roughly 3 days before Allison passed away and told me how to trick the medical examiner's office. Allison would drink every single day to the point of intoxication. The girl in Texas said, as someone who drinks that much, it'd be very easy. Just crush down some Xanax and just put it in their drink. The first thing they do is run a toxicology report, and the second they see alcohol and drugs in someone's system, they rule out everything else. So after she was deceased, I ground up roughly 20.25 milligrams of Xanax pills and inserted them into her body. And then the next morning, I woke up and I sent her a photo that the girl in Texas with Allison passed away in bed and said it's done. And because Allison was gone, the girl in Texas was kind of the next opportunity, so to speak.
Well, Robert, this is a very unusual situation.
It is, and I appreciate you for taking the time to hear this when this is a story that's been told to a lot of people, and a lot of people don't buy it.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that I do, but I'm open-minded. Mm-hmm. So let me clear a few things about you.
Right.
You live on your own, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you say you're quite wealthy.
My family's affluent. Yes.
Your family's affluent, and you live on your own. You have a driver's license. You function in the world.
I do not have a driver's license.
What happened to it?
It was suspended.
For?
DUI.
Okay, DUI.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not institutionalized or anything.
No, sir.
You can do whatever you want to do.
There are places I cannot go because people have read some of these news articles that have been written about me, and a lot of these people buy into it.
You've said different things. Why are you telling different stories? Do you not know the truth?
I don't think I do. I know the way she passed away, which, you know, I've been consistent with everyone with. Now, whether or not the media wants to believe that.
The first week of July 2018, after the death, you confessed to the police.
That's correct.
Correct? And then on December 11th, you blamed a friend in an email to
Allison's
your
mother.
wife's mother.
That's correct.
Okay. Then December 18th, you confessed to the police. Well, in 2019, you write that you were falsely accused. May 11th, you were falsely accused. Then August 6th, you say you did it, which is what you said in July and December of last year. So you intermittently say you did it and you didn't do it.
Right.
So did you or did you not murder your wife?
I believe that Allison is no longer alive as a result of my actions.
Did you murder your wife? And if so, how?
Allison and I, we, and this is difficult for me to talk about, we engaged in a sexual practice that will make a lot of people cringe, but it involves choking during sex. Allison lost her life as a result of that action, going overboard.
Well, here's what you said to us. This is your statement. You said, Allison needed to be out of my life. I thought killing her would be an easier way than divorcing her because under community property, she could have taken a lot more money from me than my lawyers could take from me. If I had a public defender, I would be behind bars. I don't care if I get life because I deserve it. I took someone's life and someone's daughter.
That's right. There's been an enormous...
Are those true statements?
I believe it to be.
So you were saying that this was a sexual encounter that just accidentally went too far.
I did know the amount of pressure I was putting on her.
In that statement, you said you made a conscious decision that it was cheaper to kill her than divorce her.
I did make that statement, and, you know, I think that at that point in my life, I may have believed that, and that's why I made the statement to your producers. However, now, you know, having gone through this enormous tragedy, it's obviously not easier, in my opinion.
When we come back, Robert says that homicide detectives are afraid of him. He's going to tell us why when we come back.
I committed murder. They still chose to not believe me. The wealthy get treated a bit differently. I think that wealthy people can get away with anything.
Tomorrow.
She says her mother absolutely ruined her wedding.
That's the first time I heard of that.
Did you wear a white dress to your daughter's
She
wedding?
saw it, so I would okay my mother wearing a white dress. Don't do this to me.
You're exchanging your vows, and your mother did what?
Woo! Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Y'all didn't get Kendra.
Hold on.
Kendra don't know me. You're lying, Kendra. And you need to go to church.
That's tomorrow. Then on Friday.
All I could think of was that my husband was going to have to identify me, and he wouldn't be able to. The police have come out to say that I didn't really have any injuries, that I was fine.
That's Friday.
I was brought up in a very wealthy and privileged family. We were looking at $30, $40 million income per year. I was brought up in a lifestyle where the law doesn't matter. Any criminal act I commit could be resolved. Money can fix every mistake. There's no reason to ever feel guilt. I don't think I've ever felt guilt.
Robert says he's here today because he wants to get something off his chest. I'm trying to figure out what's really going on in his mind. He claims that he murdered his wife. And my question is, if that's true, why would you be going around telling people that? Robert says he told the police, but because of his wealth, privilege, power, the police won't touch him.
1 week after Allison's passing, I went to the San Diego Police Department, Homicide Division, and I told them the truth about what happened and that I committed murder. I explained how it was done, how I had tricked the medical examiner's office. However, they still chose to not believe me. That is a direct result of them being afraid of my lawyers. Bob Shapiro, Mark Aragos are very well-known defense attorneys. Mark Aragos' most famous case was Michael Jackson's molestation hearing. Bob Shapiro's most famous case was the O.J. Simpson trial. They knew exactly who they were dealing with if they had to go into court. The wealthy get treated a bit differently than people without money and without powerful attorneys. I think that wealthy people can get away with anything.
So you believe that? You've said that several times.
I do believe it.
What do you know about my background?
You were a forensic psychologist, is that correct? You were a jury specialist.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of my professional career heading up the premier trial science firm in America. And there's no question that wealthy people can hire silk-stocking lawyers, but this theory that you have that the authorities down there are afraid of you, I'm sorry, that just doesn't hold water with me. The DA down there, Summer Stephan, the chief of police, I don't think they care how tall your wallet is. And your lawyers are friends of mine, and you know why they're lawyers that are well known is because they spend a lot of time in court because police take wealthy people to task when they break the law. You think just because you got money, you can go kill somebody? There are billionaires in jail today that would beg to differ with you about that. You said that there are streets you can't go down, places you can't go because the press just had a field day with you on this. I can't find a single article where the press has had a field day with you. The article that I found from your hometown was that you had confessed to police and they didn't believe you because it wasn't consistent with the findings, and as a result, they weren't even going to name you. So where is this press field day? Where's all this media?
Because Allison is named in all those articles.
It says here, the husband told police in December 18 that he killed his wife and tried to make it look like an accident, claims that don't appear to be supported by the evidence according to the autopsy report. The Union Tribune is not naming the husband because he has not been arrested, charged, or accused of a crime. How is that having a field day with you?
You know, they're talking about my wife's name in the media, my former wife. So anyone who knows Allison, they just have to Google her name, and it will pull up those articles,
So that
Dr.
one
Phil.
statement there that does not name you nor show your picture, that's what you call being persecuted in the media?
Yes, it is.
Wow, you should walk in. You should walk in my shoes for a month. Seriously?
Yes.
You said that one time she came at you with a knife and the police took her in.
That's correct.
So you married her so you could not be forced to testify against her.
Right.
But I thought they were afraid of you. You said that when you were dating her, that you two would get into arguments and fracases, and one time she came at you with a knife, actually.
That's right.
And you had to disarm her, and in so doing, you broke her wrist in self-defense. I'm not saying you...
No, I believe it was a fracture.
Yeah, that you fractured her wrist. And the police came and handcuffed her and took her in.
That's correct.
That's actually why you married her, according to you, right?
That's right. I was given a call by the district attorney's office asking me to come in, make a statement.
So you married her so you could not be forced to testify against her.
Right.
But I thought they were afraid of you.
The police like to harass and nitpick at little
Not
things.
you.
They don't. No, they don't like to bring anything big against me.
How would you punish them for having the audacity to prosecute you for a murder you confessed to?
I just, you know, I don't believe it's possible with, you know, with the medical examiner's report. I don't see a prosecution coming, and if it does, you know, I will get up there and, you know, I'll plead not guilty just so I get my day in court.
You would deny doing it,
That's correct.
even though you've confessed to it multiple times.
That's correct.
Then why deny it?
Again, to kind of show, you know, what this show's about today, which is that if I get my day in court after having done all this, there's going to be an acquittal.
This would be what?
An acquittal.
Your claim, basically, and I've tried to break this down for clarity purposes, Robert's claim is that he choked his wife to death on June 30th of 2018. And according to the autopsy report on July 2nd of 2018, examination of the neck revealed no hemorrhage. The larynx and trachea were normally formed without any fracture whatsoever. The airway was unobstructed. According to 3 medical doctors, 80% of the cases of autoerotic asphyxiation, that's strangling, show external trauma. In 80% of the cases, there will be bruising on the neck. In 16% of the cases where there's not bruising on the neck, there will be internal injury. So in 96% of the cases, there will be either external or internal injury, and your wife showed neither. So you're saying that you're a 4%er.
I guess so. I thought I was in the 1%.
But then you said after she had passed that you placed in her body a high volume of drugs and alcohol. So it would appear that she had died of an overdose.
That's correct.
So here's what they found on the autopsy report. They found her blood alcohol was 0.42. Intoxication is 0.08. So this is way above, and usually at 0.4 and above, coma and death ensues. So very, very high levels. Xanax 0.09, again, high. She was known to drink alcoholic beverages to excess. Her liver showed lesions that only come from chronic alcohol toxicity and abuse. Lesions on the kidney, same thing, from alcohol abuse. You're saying that had you not done this insertion of alcohol and drugs, that she wouldn't have tested high like that.
She would not have tested that high.
See, the problem is, once someone passes away, the metabolic process stops, and mucous membranes cannot absorb and circulate foreign substances.
So it's your opinion that she got her BAC that high on her own? And
No, that's not my opinion. That's science.
right.
I don't have an opinion on how it got that high. I have knowledge of how it didn't get that high. It didn't get that high the way you say it did.
Right.
That's a fact. So how did it get that high?
I guess medically, she would have had to have drank that much alcohol.
Were you drinking?
Yes.
How much had you been drinking?
I don't remember the exact amount, but I'd consumed enough that I was very intoxicated.
Okay, Robert says that he tried to set up an alibi after his wife's death. So who did he talk to and why? And I'm going to talk with him about what I think's going on here in a minute. We'll be right back.
I feel sad that Allison is dead. I went to visit a therapist after her passing, and this therapist said, well, you need to tell someone who can actually do something about this if you actually want to clear your conscience. I spoke to the police homicide detectives, and they didn't buy the story. So that's part of the reason, you know, I'm going to Dr. Phil, because people actually listen to him.
You say that you confessed to a waitress later that day, and you actually showed her a picture of your dead wife.
That's correct.
Why did you do that?
This was a girl that I'd been friends with for years. She could clearly see that I was distraught over something. She asked me what it was. I thought that, you know, I could trust her to not talk to the police about what I'd said to her or showed her. And so that's why I did it. I trusted her, and I should not have.
Did she do something to betray you, or?
She called the police.
Good for her. Why are you here?
I'm here to tell a story that's been told to a lot of people. And, you know, all of these people have said, we don't believe it. And, I mean, you might say that at the end of the show. But, you know, this is a story that I feel needs to be told.
And the story that you want to get out there is that you're a killer.
That's not the story.
What is the story?
I guess the story is about how easy it is to get away with things. You know, money and celebrity causes a lot of issues in this country.
I mean, you're saying people with wealth and celebrity get away with stuff, and I'm a good example, is what you're saying.
No. No, I don't think you've been accused of anything, have you?
No, you.
Oh, I'm saying that about myself.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying you
No.
are a good example.
No, I'm saying you are a good example. You're saying I killed somebody and I'm getting away with it because I'm rich. Is that your point?
Essentially, yes.
Did you kill your wife?
It's hard to say. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, when you drink that much
Yeah.
every day, you start to lose track of reality.
This is the #1 show in America. This is #1 show in daytime. You're on the biggest platform, talking to the most people that you can talk to at one time. Do you think it's rational to kill somebody and come on here and just everybody get your attention? Just want to point out I'm a killer. Does that seem rational to you?
It's just not.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Hold that thought. All right, coming up, Robert did confess to his wife's murder for a reason that he may not even realize. Now, I'm going to talk about what I think is going on here when we come back. Robert says no matter how many times that he confesses to police that he killed his wife, they won't listen. He says he's hoping they will listen to me. I hope so too. And I'm going to tell you that I understand that you're confused about really what happened because you were intoxicated, and I think maybe to a blackout level. People make false confessions, and they kind of fall into 3 categories. Number 1 are voluntary, and this is done to gain attention and notoriety or to protect someone else. Or you didn't do this, but you feel guilty about something you did do, so you're going to confess to this because you want to be held accountable. Or there's some delusion, and they're unable to distinguish between fantasy and reality. So that's one category. And 2 is they're compliant. There's a stressful interrogation. They're doing it to avoid harm or punishment. They're doing it to gain promised or implied leniency. And 3 is internalized. They've lied about the evidence. They question their own innocence. They believe they committed the crime. And when I look at this, I have to say, I think that you're a combination of 2 things. I think 1, this is attention-getting behavior by you. I think you're unable to distinguish everything that did happen, not because I think you're delusional, but because I think you were in an altered state of consciousness that night. And I think when you think back about it, it's pretty fuzzy, which is why you get down here to number 3, where you question your own innocence because you're a walking contradiction. You say, I did it. No, I didn't. And I believe in medical science. And to me, this isn't even a close call. On July 2nd of 2018, the cause of death was acute alcohol intoxication and Xanax, complications of chronic alcohol abuse. It was ruled an accident, 0.42 in the blood, 0.48 in the vitreous humor. And that is a better post-mortem measure of how much this person was drinking. And the vitreous humor is the gelatinous substance inside the eyeball behind the lens. And there is no way that you could impact that post-mortem. No way. Zip, zero, nada, niet, cannot get there, cannot happen. So you didn't create those findings. Sorry. You just didn't create those findings. And furthermore, from a psychological standpoint, that is consistent with who I perceive you to be. I don't perceive you to be a killer. I don't perceive you to be a murderer. And unless you're way less oriented than I think, that should be good news.
That is, yeah.
To you.
This is probably the biggest relief I've gotten.
So coming up, does Robert feel like we've made any progress here? I'm going to ask him about that and what should happen next. We'll be right back. Tell me what you're hearing me saying and tell me what you think as you sit here right now.
This is very good news to me. I've been torn for a long time about what really happened, and you explaining the medical science about it, that makes me feel a lot better to have known that, she was intoxicated to that point before she passed away. She'd taken some pills on her own.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I'm very sorry for your loss. This was your wife. This was a loss for you, and I'm very sorry for your loss, and that's traumatic. And I want you to stop doing what you're doing because this has got to be painful for her family. I am completely convinced you did not kill this woman, and you may feel guilty about what you didn't do, that you didn't protect her, that you didn't get her to not drink to excess, that you were partners in crime with her and drinking with her when neither of you should have been doing it. And you've got years and years of alcohol abuse, and I think you've been to some rehabs and made an attempt to get that under control, I think so far unsuccessfully. But what I think you've not done is assessed what damage this has done to you neurologically. And I think that you deserve to get yourself straightened out, and you need to stop running around telling people you killed somebody. You did not. Right. And if you did, running around saying it would be very irrational. You need to focus on you and getting yourself healthy and becoming a contributing member of society and giving back instead of focusing on all this. And we'll help you to achieve all of those things if you'll take the help.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay. All right. Up next, from murders to kidnappings to the Kardashians, my next guest covers it all. Daily Mail TV is back after an epic, award-winning second season. The show, which is executive produced by my son Jay, myself, and Carla Pennington, brings to life the best of DailyMail.com. Breaking news, exclusives, showbiz, health, crime, science, and politics. Take a look.
From the global phenomenon.
Hello, Daily Mail TV. Hey, Daily Mail TV.
It's a whole new season.
So embarrassing.
The exclusive stories that you won't see anywhere else.
Daily Mail TV. Y'all got it going on.
All right. Here with some insider information on Season 3, please welcome back to the show the host of Daily Mail TV, Jesse Palmer.
What's up, man? How's it going? Everything good?
Doing all right?
Good to see you. Doing great.
How's the world treating you?
World's good. We're getting set to kick off Season 3 Monday, September 16th, so we can't wait to get started.
How about that? Can you believe it's been 2 seasons already?
No, how many have you done now?
We're starting 18.
I don't know how you keep count. I don't know how you keep count. It's been a wild ride.
Well, you're one of the busiest guys in TV, right? Because you do Daily Mail a week, then you zoom off and do ESPN on the weekends for college football.
That's right, yeah.
Which is really exciting. Yeah. And because you played for college football, then played pro football. Now you're commentating it and doing a damn good job on both ends.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys know, Dr. Phil was actually a great football player in his own right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Something about football players transitioning to television.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
we all knew we were going to do that.
That's right. We all knew it while we were down there eating dirt and
that's right.
Bleeding
breaking
out of our
bones.
ear.
That's right.
Now, you've got some great stories coming up. Now, one story the Daily Mail has covered closely is the tragic death of model and actress Anna Nicole Smith and the custody fight for her daughter, Danny Lynn. Now, her father, Larry Burkhead, had to battle Smith's former lawyer and boyfriend, Howard K. Stern, in court, but a DNA test proved Burkhead was, in fact, the father, right?
That's right.
So we're getting a sneak peek of a Daily Mail TV's exclusive with Larry Burkhead and Danny Lynn, who is now 13 years old. Can you believe it's been that long? And she's doing some acting and modeling just like her mom. Take a look.
Last year, she took an acting class, and I got an email from a teacher, and she said Danny Lynn gave one of the most believable performances of the whole entire school.
What do you love about acting so much?
It's really cool to like act as a character and like not yourself. It's like portraying a new person is fun.
Yeah, so tell me about this, y'all. This is an exclusive you have.
It's an exclusive we have on Daily Mail TV. So we traveled down to Kentucky to sit down and talk with Larry and Danny Lynn. So Danny Lynn's a 13-year-old. She's a very sweet, very intelligent young lady. And really, it's just catching up with her, what's going on in her life, what sort of hobbies she has, also what she knows about her mom, Anna Nicole Smith, and also what it's like growing up as the daughter of a big-time celebrity like Anna Nicole.
Daily Mail TV is associated with DailyMail.com, which is the largest English-speaking website in the world, right?
That's right, yep.
And so you guys have access to assets that no other television show has,
It's
right?
true. Offices in London and Sydney, here in Los Angeles, New York City, literally all around the world. And our TV show, Daily Mail TV, works hand in hand with DailyMail.com to bring breaking news, exclusive stories that you're not going to find anywhere else. And we talk about so many different topics, whether it's entertainment, politics, health, true crime. There's really nothing that we don't touch. And I think our viewers at home really, really appreciate sort of this exclusivity that we bring them on our show.
Yeah, and between the TV show and the website, 1,000 stories are filed every day.
It's a lot of work.
How'd you feel about winning the Emmy this year?
Very, very humbled. It's for us to win, thank you. For us to win the Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Entertainment News Program in only our second year, I really think it's a testament to all the incredible people and the talent that we have working on the show. They really pour their heart and soul into it.
To your left there is my executive producer here on Dr. Phil, which is Carla Pennington. She's been the executive producer here for, this is her 18th season here as well.
I feel like Carla knows a hit when she sees one.
Yes, she does.
She's done pretty well.
Right, we've got another preview of a Daily Mail TV Season 3 exclusive with some words of wisdom from an iconic former talk show host, Sally Jessy Raphael. Take a look at this.
Is there any circumstance under which a girl deserves to be hit by her boyfriend?
There are certain things that would make a good talk show host. Number one, Malcolm Gladwell said, in order to be proficient at anything, you've got to do it for 10,000 hours. Number two, you have to have a rather large and colorful vocabulary. And three, the most important thing is something called timing.
How many pairs of these red glasses do you own?
About 200.
Wow.
That's the most stolen. In a restaurant, if I put them down on the table and go to the ladies' room.
Gone.
Or something like that, yeah, people nick them.
People are stealing their glasses.
Isn't that unbelievable just how iconic she was? On the air 19 years. She interviewed over 10,000 people. And it's interesting to hear about that rule. In order to become proficient at something, you got to do it for 10,000 hours. I remember growing up, I wanted to play professional football, and my dad told me, if you want to make it to the NFL, you got to throw passes for 10,000 hours to do it. Yeah. He was right.
Well, you had an interesting family, right? You're not the only child.
No, I'm the oldest and shortest. I've got two younger brothers. My dad played professional football. Mom was a model. Younger brother played football as well. So
yeah.
It's a house
what's
of
your
characters.
middle name?
James. So my parents named me and my brothers all after cowboys.
So you're Jesse James Palmer.
Yeah, I was a criminal. I'm Jesse James.
And your brother
is Billy the Kid
Palmer. And your other brother?
Christian Charles Wyatt Palmer, named after Wyatt Earp. He was the good guy, because he's the youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your parents had a really good sense of humor, or were smoking a lot of dope.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Great sense of humor, a lot of drugs in the 70s. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you certainly turned out all right, so kudos to them. Look, I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to the host of Daily Mail TV, Jesse Palmer. Tune in to Season 3. They've got some stuff coming, I promise you. We'll see you next time. Jesse.